I don't know what the hell it is with this. It always likes to turn around and take a picture of me. I think it was a narcissist or something. Anyway, this is just by way of demonstrating that you don't actually have to pull the cowling loose on these to get the fan belt on. It looks tight, but it'll go right on. I saw one video which didn't explain how to take the PTO apart, but it said you had to take this cowling loose, and you don't. All you got to do is just slide the belt. This belt's even easier because it's a cog belt, but you just slide the belt over the fan, one blade at a time, until it's all the way over the fan, and it'll go on there no problem. Now, you might notice that I actually already have a belt. That's the new belt. I'm just showing you with the old belt, but I got the old belt off and a new belt on without pulling the cowling or loosening it or anything. Now, that guy had a 223D. Maybe it's a little different on that, but I'll always try that before I take things loose, because it always looks like it ain't gonna go, and then it does. And speaking of which, back underneath. Okay. Now, I'm gonna see if I can turn this thing with a big pair of pliers to line it up. I gotta find the, one of the tappings to reattach the PTO shaft, or whatever. That's not really the PTO shaft. It's the shaft that goes to the hydraulic transmission. And okay, yeah, I can turn that a little. That's good. Okay, now, this guy turns no problem. You know, I think unless you're turning it really fast, you're not going to have a lot of resistance. And for once, I'm not going to put never seize on the bolt, because that bolt's been in there for 25 years, and it's clean as a whistle. Well, 20, maybe somebody else changed the belt once or twice, come to think of it, but it didn't stick. I did have to use an impact driver to get it off. Otherwise, I probably could have just used like a 3/8 breaker bar and a, yeah, good, we got some 3/8 breaker bar, and then like either stuck a screwdriver in here or put my big pair of pliers on there to hold it still. But if I just used the wrench, then the whole thing turned instead of undoing the bolt. That gives you a hint at what the torque spec is. Ha! My idea of torque spec is it feels tight enough. This is like drivetrain stuff. It's going to vibrate a lot, so I'll make it reasonable tight, not like break the bolt tight. I think these are fine thread. Yeah, they are fine thread. I don't know if it's metric or not. Some of the bolts on this thing seem metric. Goddamn communists. But 25-year-old American. Maybe it's like actually not an American thing, right? Maybe it's European. I don't know. Seems communist to me. Socialist anyway. So what's going to happen? You know, the Ruskies are going to come in, and we're going to be under our goddamn tanks going, what's the same as a 14 millimeter? I'll hesitate to say that's what's happening in Ukraine. In fact, I'll hesitate to say anything about that. I might say the wrong thing. Okay, now I got to turn this whole goddamn thing 180 degrees. And, but all in all, you know, I thought, I don't know, I might have to like take the goddamn transmission off to change the friggin' fan belt when I first looked at it. Which didn't seem right, but that's the way they make things nowadays. Fortunately, this thing's 25 years old, so they didn't make things like that 25 years ago. They made some pretty silly shit, though, come to think of it. Now you can see this thing's trying to misalign itself as it comes around. Ain't a lot of torque on that, but yeah, we'll follow up now. And I get some shit in my eyes. Probably not a bad idea to wear goggles, but I never do. Oh, you see, I didn't turn Kathy Mattea back on. That's why things ain't going well. And there she goes. Now I'm in a better mood. Oh, right. And the bushing came out. Now I need that displacement. The other bushing didn't come out. That one did. And I hate to imagine what to do if I lost that bushing. There's the, yeah, and there are 3 drilled bosses in whatever the hell this thing is, like the world's widest harmonic balancer. And so I'm assuming this is actually put on to the real harmonic balancer with 3 bolts that are recessed, drilled into this thing. I'm kind of not sure why. I don't know how like perfect this can be. I'm not really sure why it doesn't induce a little bit of balance trouble, you know, because it seems like a pretty rudimentary adapter, but it is pretty close to the center of rotation, so maybe it's a little bit less problematic. And I got this cute angle impact from Milwaukee, and not really any space for a torch stick here, I'm gonna guess. I'll do the one a little, and then I'm gonna turn it around. Now, oh yeah, and I gotta retighten these things, because that's what I undid first, hoping I'd be able to get it apart that way. That was a waste of time, because these bolts, the bolt is on this side, and the nut's on this side, and the bolts won't back out if you get them off. And the spacers here, that just gives you a lot more space, you know. Yeah, I always try the stupid thing first. It sort of seemed easier, but it wasn't. And I'm actually pretty impressed how easily this came apart. Maybe that's why there aren't any videos of it, because it hasn't been that hard for people. But for me, I always want to overthink things. And so I'm looking at it going, what's going to happen? And if I take this bolt off, is there some nut in here that's going to fall off and I'll never find it, or won't be able to hold it? And you wouldn't think somebody could make something that way, but they do sometimes. Anyway. And you know, I don't know that there's a real methodology for lining this shit up. I'm going to put it together and see if it don't shake too much, because that's my methodology. And so I'll tighten this one also. Not that you need to watch this. Too bad you... Oh, this is John Prine singing with Kathy Matei. It's too bad you guys can't hear this. Be nice if you could make soundtracks for your videos. But it's at least nice to know. Of course, here's a Craftsman ratchet. It fucking no work worth a shit. Yeah. But I lubed it. It's fucking hopeless. Sorry. There's always more swearing in my repair videos. And I don't know. I don't think those are actually lock nuts. Wouldn't really hurt my feelings if they were. But I don't know why the whole thing don't just fly off of there, given how fast it's turning all the time. But I guess these fibers really give quite a bit. And there's one at the other end. I don't know if you can see that behind the filter here. That filter I've never changed. I let that be a reminder to me. Yeah, I put so much fluid through this thing because it's got a crack and it leaks. So I don't need to change the filter because I'm constantly changing the fluid. Well, that's my rationalization. Okay. And you notice I had to, of course, you can't get, because of the shaft, I got to use my